Hi everyone, my name is Claire O'Dowd. I'm the Electronic Resources Librarian at Rockland Community College. This video is a library tutorial for Professor Barrett's Criminal Justice classes, CRJ 101, Introduction to Criminal Justice, CRJ 102, Introduction to Policing, and CRJ 224, Analysis of Serial Killers. This video will cover how to use the library databases to do research tailored to these research assignments for these classes. We're going to go over how to find and make good use of two of our very large databases that search multiple other databases at once, as well as two smaller subject-specific databases, one which covers criminal justice topics and another that covers legal topics. We will also go over APA citation and formatting and all the tools you can use to make your life easier on that front. Now, the easiest way to find the library homepage is through my RCC. And under My Apps, clicking on the library link. First off, there are several ways to contact us if you need research help. So far, while the library is now open with limited services, all the reference librarians are actually remote this semester. So you can instant message us using the orange Ask Us button on the right over here. The chat function now also has a screen sharing option, which we have found very, very helpful since we haven't been able to work with you guys face-to-face lately. If you go to Research Help, on the bottom left over here and click the Ask Us link, this page will provide you with a number to text us and to email us. Okay, I'm going to click off of this. So to start our searching, we're going to use this massive search bar in the middle of the library homepage with the big green search button. This leads us to a database called Primo, which searches many databases at once, and it covers a myriad of topics that contain all types of resources. And by that I mean academic articles, news articles, books on the shelf, eBooks, streaming videos, etc. I'm going to start with just a basic keyword search, like sexual assault and college campus. Now, I haven't used any filters, so I get about 60,000, 70,000 results. Let's see, if I scroll down, I can see articles, I can see a book available online. I know it's an ebook. This one has a call number attached to it, which is for books on the shelf. I can see more articles. And everything here you'll be able to access off campus unless it's a physical book or a DVD, which if you need something on the shelf, we now have a curbside pickup form, which you can find on the home page. Now I can shave these results down by adding more keywords or using the filters on the side over here. I can change the resource type, for example. Let's say I just want articles. This will give me academic and magazine articles. I can also change the date if I want. Let's say if I only want more recent articles, change it maybe to the last 5 years. I'm also going to lock my filters. This particular database, for example, if I change my keywords, likes to erase your filters. So I'm going to say remember all filters. So if I give it any adjustments, it's not going to knock my filters off. And now I only have about 6,000 results. I can also log into this database. I can sign in either here where it's reminding me to sign in or up in the corner. And I already logged in through my RCC, so it's just going to automatically log in. Otherwise, it would give me that my RCC sign-in page. And you don't need to create an account for this. You already have an account through RCC. From here, I can save items as well as searches. So I can save, for example, maybe I'll save this second article here by clicking on the pin. It's going to add the item. And if I go to Save Query over here, it'll save my search. So let's say I'm going to go to the pins, or I can go to my name and click on my favorites. So I have the article saved. If I go to Save Searches, I can also see the search here. So it's pretty helpful in that it not only saves particular items, whether they're articles or books, it also helps sort of save your thought process. So you know what kind of search you did from day to day. Results can actually change on these databases from day to day. We may lose or gain access to certain databases or journals, and journals in particular, journals and magazines, come out with new issues all the time. So the same search on a different day can yield different results. If I go to search history, it's just going to save what I did in this session. It's not going to save anything previous. Okay, so if I go back to my results, this first one says no online access, which means we just have access to the abstract, which is the summary of the article. But you can request items we don't own through Interlibrary loan, which is just our library asking on your behalf another library to borrow or to have an electronic copy of something. Normally it would take a few days for electronic items because they're usually sent by PDF. Maybe slower in the COVID environment, but if there's something you really want, please contact us. We'll help you create an interlibrary loan account and request it. But I'm going to select the second one, which I saved. Sexual assault on college campuses, a 50-state survey of criminal sexual assault statutes and their relevance to campus sexual assault. So you have the option to grab the citation for this article. Click on Citation. It's going to give me the APA citation, which is the long citation that goes at the end of the article, which is pretty helpful. They are automatically generated, so it's a good idea to just sort of check them to make sure they're accurate, but it's way faster than trying to put them together manually. If I click on the email button, it'll only send me the permalink to this page and not the actual article. And because this is a database that searches different databases at once, I actually have to come out of this. So I have the option, this article appears in 2 different databases that we'd subscribe to. So I'm going to click on one. Sometimes you'll only see one of them, sometimes you'll see 7 or 15. So I'm going to click on this one, EBSCO Sci articles. And I have 2 ways of getting to this article, either PDF full text, which will open it up in a PDF, and it'll show me the article as it would have appeared in its original journal. Which I know the name of this by looking at sources, Psychology, Public Policy, and Law. It's an academic journal. Or I can click on HTML full text, which will just bring me further down the page. It means it's just right on the browser, as is. And there are a couple ways of saving this article as well. If I scroll up, if you're logged into Gmail, you can save it to your drive. Or you can email it to yourself. And again, with the email, here I can send myself the APA citation. And this email function on this database, which is called EBSCO, will send you the full article with the citations, not just the permalink. If you are going to save links, definitely always save the permalink and not what's in the address bar. What's in the address bar will time out and become invalid pretty quickly. I always like to err on the side of having stuff saved on either my device or one of my own accounts. That way I can always get to it and I don't have to rely on logging into a network that's outside of my control. So even if I'm just going to open up the tab with Primo. I can log into my Primo account here. If something happens to my password, or if there's, the database is glitchy that day, I'm not going to be able to get to it. So I either like to download things straight on my device, or I like to save them to my drive or email them, so it's sitting on my Gmail or on my computer. So in addition to, reading, saving, and potentially using this article, I can also comb this article for potential new keywords. In addition to reading, saving, potentially using this article in my paper, I can also comb it for related keywords. I typed in sexual assault college campus, and keyword searching in this database works like it does in Google. It's trying to match text. So those 4 words that I typed in my original search, it's looking for those 4 words in any order, or in any combination. It could be 1 or all 4 of them. So if I scroll through here, I believe this article talks about Title IX. It's a little bit more specific, but I can pull something like that out of that article to perhaps narrow my search results. My keywords were pretty generic, and it's on a pretty widely discussed topic. So that's why I got 60,000 results for the first basic search that I typed in. So I'm going to click off of this. I'm going to X out of here. Just as a side note, you might see things on here like peer-reviewed or open access. You might be asked in other classes to provide peer-reviewed articles. Or seeing a peer-reviewed on an article means it's from an academic journal that goes through a particular type of strict vetting process before it accepts articles for publication. You may not need it for this assignment, but at some point in school you'll definitely be asked for it. Open access means the source is freely available online, so you could potentially find it on Google. Because this database does aggregate a lot of this kind of content, it's actually way easier to find it on here. Primo also features something called a citation tracker, which means that you can find sources citing this article, so articles that were written later, and cite this source like you might do in your paper. Or they have sources cited in this, which are all the sources cited in the reference list of this article, to which Primo either has access to the full text or the abstract of that article. And you can see there's a list here. Some of these are fully available. Some of these will only have access to the abstract. And you can do the same for sources that also cited this article. So let's see if I add Title IX to my search. I'm just going to throw it in like a regular keyword. See how that goes. Yep, and I'm still getting about 1,300 results. These might be more narrow since it will specifically discuss Title IX, which may not be included in all discussions of sexual assault on college campuses. So it's picking up all of these keywords, so I'll be looking at something like Title IX as it relates to campus sexual assault, which is more specific than my first search. And it kept my old filters of the date and just articles. So now I'm going to jump out and look at another large database that we have. That one, Primo, is a SUNY-wide database, and then we have a smaller one which we were using previously, but we like it, so we keep it around. Over here under Search Tools, it's called EBSCO Discovery Service. It's going to look a little bit like that EBSCO SciArticles database because they're owned by the same company, so the layout's pretty similar. And I'm going to try another topic for another one of the papers, the concept of defunding or reforming the police. I'm just going to do a basic keyword search for that. This database also has limiters on the side. Occasionally you'll see a link to request through interlibrary loan, which occasionally pops up in articles or items we actually do have access to. So always check something like this one first. Like Gale's the name of another database. I might click on Gale. And if it opens up with a full article, you don't need to worry about it. If it's something you want and you're not getting it, you can request it through interlibrary loan. Or move on to something else if you're not that attached to it. So let's say if I just want to click on this article, since it took me to another Gale database, this one will allow me to save it to my drive, email it to myself, and download it. Different layout, but similar functionality. And I can grab the citation. This is giving me MLA by default, but I'll click on APA. And I can grab the APA citation from here. Now I know this article refers specifically to Chicago. You can use a case example of the debate in Chicago. I can add that as a keyword. Or I can know, or I can try something that is a known example. If I wanted to try something like Camden, New Jersey, because I know Camden made an effort to completely revamp their police department, I think about 7 years ago. And so maybe I want to look at that like as a case study. So I can put in Camden, and depending, there are a lot of other keywords that people might use to describe what happened. Reform, their police department, they didn't abolish it, but people have used that keyword as well. They fired a lot of their employees. So let me just try that and reform, and I can play around with these keywords. Reform and police. Okay, so in these results I have, looks like a lot of news. It's talking about Minneapolis. Yes, looks like it might be a CNN broadcast or a transcript thereof. But it also mentioned Camden's revamping of their police department. But I could play around. I could use reform. I know they fired their team and hired a new one. I could use the word fired instead of reformed. It looks like I'm getting fairly similar results to the first search, but searching through databases or Google or any kind of research is kind of like a thoughtful trial and error. So I'm going to quickly demo how to grab eBooks from this database. We've been looking at a lot of articles. So I'm going to try searching for Black Lives Matter, since that is associated with efforts for defunding, reforming police and police community relations. And I know it's a relatively new movement. It's only a few years old, so I don't have to worry about getting, results from 50 years ago, which may not be relevant for your paper. And then on the side, I'm going to tell it under source types, I can go to show more if I don't see what I want right here. I'm going to say, give me eBooks. I'm going to scroll down. I'll try something American Justice on Trial. This search may be too broad, but we'll see. I'm going to click on EPUB full text, so it either will say this or PDF on the side, and it'll give me the full text of the ebook. So from here I can click on chapter titles, and I can skip around. I can do a search within the book if there's another keyword. If I want to type in police, and it'll give me a list of all the pages in which that keyword appears. I can email pages from here depending on the license for the book. I can email up to 100 pages at a time for this. If I go back to the landing page, it'll email me the link to the database entry. You won't be able to email or save an entire book to your drive. If I go back to the landing page again, let's say it's not really clear why this book showed up. Given my keyword search, I can scroll down to most relevant pages from this ebook and just click on that. Let's say this search is too narrow. I'm going to try something wider like police-community relations. And then if I try to filter for ebooks again, I'm getting more results relevant to what I want. Okay, so I'm going to jump out of this and I'm going to go to some subject-specific databases. So under Search Tools, right above EBSCO Discovery Service, I'm going to click on Databases by Subject. I'm going to scroll down to Paralegal Studies and Criminal Justice. In the center is a list of relevant databases. Some of them might be generic, like this one, Academic Search Complete. It's multidisciplinary. Some of them will be specific to particular types of resources, like this one is academic videos. And I'm going to scroll down here to Gale Academic, oh, no, what? There you go, Gale OneFile Criminal Justice. Let's try another search. Let's search for serial killers. Near the top, I can select from magazine, academic journals, news. And I'm going to go with the second one here, Serial Killers, a Homicide Detective's Take. Law Enforcement Technology, this looks like an academic journal to me, or a professional journal. As opposed to the first one here, which is from Newsweek. So popular magazines like Newsweek aren't necessarily bad or invalid sources, but if I'm doing this paper for a criminal justice class, I might want to take something like this, which is going to be talking to or written for and by professionals in the field. And this is a Gale database, which we looked at before, and we'll have the same layout that the previous Gale database that we jumped out of. I think it might have been EBSCO Discovery Service. Same kind of options, same layout. All right, so I'm going to try something like serial killers. I might want to use terms that an investigator would use, like victim selection, and I get nothing. In this database, while it does cover pretty much just criminal justice topics, it would weed out a lot of fat that might be in some of the larger databases. It's also very small. So I'm going to jump out of this and try something else. I'm going to try this one, EBSCO Psychology and Behavioral Sciences Collection. I do the same search. Killers, victim selection. I get one result. So I'm going to probably want to expand that too. But I may change my terms to something I see this article using, like victim target networks. And I get a few more results. I get about 25. So I can change the terms, or I can jump into a larger database like EBSCO Discovery Service or Primo, which may give me more results. Let's try that very quickly. I may also want to put something like this in quotes, because otherwise it's just going to be looking at things like networks or victims. I might also want to put in something more professional sounding. I might not say serial killer, I might say serial murder. Yep, and again, I just get that one article. So now I'm going to jump over back to databases by subject, or paralegal and criminal justice databases, and I'm going to scroll down to Nexis Uni, which is a legal database. And Nexis Uni here under menu does actually have a criminal justice general guide. However, this database's notable feature is that you can search things like court cases and decisions, statutes and legislation, motions, briefs, etc. So I did the same sort of basic search. I'll try serial murder, since I don't know if serial killer is going to be used as much in an official court document or formal documents. I'm going to try putting it in quotes this time, because quotes will give me all these words in that order. So I'll need the phrase serial murder instead of just serial and or murder somewhere in my keywords or somewhere in the text of the document. And from here, I'm going to try narrowing by cases. And then under cases, it's going to give me a bunch of different options. I'm going to try court of, and I have the options of various federal and state courts. And I'll pick New York. I get about 5. Let's try this one. The first serial murder capital case tried and convicted by jury. People versus Florida. Just like the other databases, I can email it, I can download it, I can save it to my drive, and I can cite it. Okay, so once you've gathered and read your sources, you're going to use some of them to write your paper. And you're going to have to cite them and format your paper, which you'll be doing in APA style. Well, a long time ago, this process was tedious and time-consuming. There are a lot of free tools out there that are easy to use. We saw them earlier in some of the databases that generate citations for you, but there's a lot more. On our library website, we do have a page dedicated, I'll show you here on the home page, under citation guides to APA style, but our guide, as well as the citation guides for like every other college's citation page, is based on Purdue OWL, just from Purdue University in Indiana. So I'm just going to Google Purdue OWL APA. This is going to be really useful for things that don't come with automatic citations, like a physical book isn't going to generate the latest version of the APA citation for you. And it also has information for how you might do weirder sources. You see these sort of like miscellaneous other print sources, other non-print sources, if you conduct an interview or you watch an interview. Or you emailed somebody and asked a question and they emailed you back. You can cite all of those things. You can cite a streaming video. And it'll also show you how to do something you will definitely have to do in this paper is in-text citations. So they don't just go at the end of your paper. If you quote somebody or otherwise get information from someone else's work, you have to say so when you say it. So usually these are, in APA, it's author's name, year, page number. If you're missing any of those, general rules to leave them out, but this will explain it. You know, if you have multiple, it'll show you what to do if you have multiple authors. You know, maybe it's like a government author, it's not a person. It'll tell you how to do all that. It also provides a sample paper. And this sample accounts for any element or heading you can possibly put in an APA paper. You'll probably not be asked for all of these in every single APA paper you write, but it has all of them and explains everything and labels it. And the last thing I'm going to show you is, let's go back to my RCC, is Word actually has templates for citation and formatting styles. So if I go under my apps and I click on Office 365, everyone at RCC has access to Office 365. You just need to make if you don't have an account, you just need to make one with your RCC username and password. So if you don't have the Microsoft suite on your computer, no worries. And so this works a little bit like Google Docs in that it's cloud-based. Multiple people can share and edit documents at once, but it has the functionality, like almost the entire same functionality of Microsoft Office. So it can do a lot more than Google Docs can, like especially when it comes to citation and formatting. Because Google Docs, I don't think you can even do the hanging indent in Google Docs, which you'll have to do in your reference list. But if you open up the APA style paper sample or template, in here, it formats the paper for you. So you just replace all of their stuff with yours. Okay, so this is going to conclude the tutorial, but it's not the final word in research help. If you need more help with this assignment or any other class assignment at RCC, please feel free to reach out to us. It's what we're here for.